Funny to think he would ever choose you, the voice cut through the air, and laughter erupted around her. Her fingers trembled, but not from fear, she was gripping something no one else could see. Her face burned, and in that moment she knew, if she stayed silent now, she would remain this way forever. She lifted her head, and the entire hall fell silent, not realizing this night would mark the beginning of a story that would be remembered for years. Her gaze landed on him, handsome, confident, standing beside the woman everyone called perfect. Yet she caught a detail the others missed, his hand flinched when she whispered something into his ear. For a split second, his smile vanished, and his eyes filled with unease. Her heart told her, there was something hidden there, something no one knew, something that could change everything. She spun around and stormed out, leaving behind the echo of mocking laughter. But then footsteps followed, echoing through the corridor, measured, deliberate, too heavy to ignore. Not him. Not the one who mocked her. Someone else. The steps grew closer, and a voice, low and steady, breathed into her ear, "Don't do this, or you'll lose everything." She froze, the words slashing deeper than the insult before. "What do you mean?" she forced out, her throat tight. Silence answered, only the weight of his presence behind her. She turned sharply, but the corridor was empty, just shadows and fading echoes. Her chest pounded as she realized the object in her palm was digging into her skin, sharper now, almost painful. She shoved it into her pocket, clutching it like a lifeline, without daring to look. Back inside the hall, laughter still buzzed, but something had shifted. He, the one they all admired, was no longer laughing. His eyes flicked to the door she had just exited, and his jaw tightened. The woman at his side leaned closer, her words sharp but too quiet for anyone else. Whatever she said drained the color from his face. He nodded once, stiffly, then broke away, heading in the same direction she had gone. Outside, the night air slapped her cheeks, cool and sharp. She walked faster, trying to outpace the pounding of her heart. But another set of footsteps joined hers, quicker this time, purposeful. She knew instantly, it was him. For the first time, his voice cut through the night, steady yet strained, "Wait. Don't leave like this." Her body stiffened. The question screamed inside her head, why now? Why him? And why did that warning feel like more than just words? She stopped walking but didn't turn around. His footsteps slowed, cautious, as if he feared one wrong move would send her running. "I said wait," he repeated, his voice softer this time, almost pleading. Her chest rose and fell rapidly. "Why now?" she asked without looking at him. "You didn't say a word in there." "Not one." Silence stretched between them, broken only by the hum of the city beyond the hall. Finally, he exhaled. "Because in there, nothing I said would matter. Out here, it's different." She turned sharply, anger flaring. "Different? While they laughed at me? While you stood there, smiling?" Her voice cracked, but it wasn't weakness, it was fury. "I don't need pity. I don't need you." She spun to leave, but his hand shot out, stopping just short of touching her. "Then why are you holding that?" he asked quietly, his eyes flicking to her pocket. Her stomach dropped. Her fingers instinctively pressed against the object, hidden but now heavier than ever. She swallowed hard. "You don't know what you're talking about." But his stare told her he did. Or at least, he suspected enough. And that terrified her more than the laughter had. Before she could respond, the doors behind them burst open. The man who had mocked her earlier stepped into the night, his grin sharp, predatory. "Well, this is interesting," he drawled. "Our perfect gentleman sneaking off after the wrong girl." Tension spiked like static in the air. For a moment, all three stood locked in place, the admired man, the one who mocked, and her caught between them. She could retreat, vanish into the night, or stand her ground. Her pulse hammered, screaming for an answer. She drew in a shaky breath and did the one thing none of them expected: she stepped forward, not back. "If you have something to say," she told the mocking man, her voice low but steady, "say it to my face." His grin widened. "Gladly. But don't blame me when you find out the truth." The words hung there, thick with threat and mystery. She didn't flinch. For the first time that night, she had chosen not to hide. And deep down, she knew, this decision would cost her more than she could imagine. Her words still hung in the night air, but the mocking man only smirked wider, as if he enjoyed every ounce of tension. She felt her pulse in her ears, yet she refused to step back. Beside her, the admired man shifted, his jaw tight, his hands balled into fists he hadn't yet raised. "You think you're brave," the mocker sneered, "but you're nothing. He knows it. Everyone knows it. The only question is, when will you realize it?" Her fists clenched, nails digging into her palms. "I realized something tonight," she shot back. "I'm done letting people like you decide who I am." The mocker chuckled, but his eyes flicked past her shoulder. "Then maybe you should tell that to the one who's been watching." She froze. Slowly, she turned. At the far end of the street, a figure leaned against a car, arms crossed, eyes hidden under the brim of a cap. Too far to recognize, too close to ignore. The pit in her stomach deepened. The admired man stiffened too. His voice dropped, sharp and urgent. "Not here." The mocker's smirk faltered for the first time. "So it's true," he muttered, almost to himself. Then, louder, "You're in deeper than she even realizes." Her chest tightened. Deeper into what? The man at her side touched her elbow, gently but firmly. "We have to go," he whispered. "Now." But she yanked her arm free. "No. Not until someone tells me what's going on." The mocker laughed again, but it was thinner now, edged with nerves. "Oh, you'll find out soon enough. Just pray you're ready when it comes." The figure by the car pushed off the hood and started walking toward them, slow, deliberate, as though he had all the time in the world. The street lamp caught his face for a split second, scarred, unfamiliar, but his eyes locked on her with chilling certainty. Her breath caught. She didn't know him. But the way he looked at her said he knew everything about her. The scarred man's steps echoed closer, each one deliberate, heavy with intent. Her chest tightened, but she forced herself not to retreat. The admired man shifted beside her, his body angling protectively. "Who is he?" she demanded, her voice sharper than she expected. The man at her side hesitated, jaw clenched. Finally, he muttered, "Someone you don't want to meet here." That answer wasn't enough. Her anger flared hotter than her fear. "Stop speaking in riddles. If you know something, say it." But before he could, the scarred man stopped just a few feet away. His eyes locked on her, cold but focused, and for a moment the world seemed to narrow to that gaze. Then, quietly, he said, "You've already made your choice." Her pulse hammered. "What choice?" she demanded, her voice trembling. A faint smile touched his lips. "The one you're hiding in your pocket." Her blood froze. She felt the weight of the object against her thigh, heavier than ever. She gripped it through the fabric, her knuckles white. The admired man stepped forward, blocking her from the stranger's view. "Not tonight," he said firmly. "Walk away." For the first time, she saw the scarred man falter. His gaze shifted, studying the man who shielded her. After a tense pause, he smirked. "Protect her if you like. It won't change what's coming." Then he turned, retreating into the shadows, his figure swallowed by the night. Relief rushed through her chest, but it didn't last. She spun on the man still standing at her side. "What's going on? You keep acting like I'm in the middle of something I don't even understand. If you know, tell me now." He looked at her then, really looked, as though weighing how much truth she could bear. Finally, he whispered, "If I tell you, there's no turning back." Her breath caught. Her mind screamed for an answer, but something deep inside warned her of the cost. For the first time that night, she realized she had a choice, not between them, not between mockery and pride, but between staying blind and opening a door she might never close. And just as she drew in a breath to speak, a phone rang. His. He glanced at the screen, and his face drained of color. Without a word, he showed it to her. One message. Don't trust him. The words on the screen burned into her mind, don't trust him. Her breath caught, her pulse spiking with confusion. She looked up at him, the man everyone admired, the one who had just stood between her and danger. Who sent that? She demanded. His jaw tightened. It doesn't matter. It matters to me, she snapped. Because right now, I don't know if I should be standing next to you or running as far as I can. The hurt in her voice surprised even her. For a fleeting second, she saw something flicker across his face, regret, maybe even guilt. But it vanished too quickly to be sure. He slid the phone back into his pocket and said, almost too calmly, "If you want answers, you'll have to trust me first." Trust. The word cut like glass. He was asking her to believe the very thing someone had just warned her against. And yet, hadn't he defended her? Hadn't he stood there when no one else did? She clenched her fists, nails biting her palms. I've spent my whole life waiting for someone else to decide if I matter. Not anymore. I'll choose for myself. Her voice shook, but it was steady enough to make him pause. Then he nodded, slowly, as if he respected the fight in her. Before he could reply, the doors of the hall slammed open again. A group spilled out, people she knew from inside, their laughter gone, replaced by whispers. They were looking for something. No, looking for her. Panic surged in her chest. Why are they? They saw too much, he cut her off sharply. His hand brushed her arm again, urging her to move. If you stay, they'll crush you. You don't know how far they'll go. Her throat tightened. Every instinct screamed to run, but another voice inside asked the harder question, if I run now, will I ever stop running? The group spotted them, voices rising, questions cutting through the night. She drew a deep breath, made her choice, and stepped forward, not away. If they want me, they can face me. The murmurs fell to silence as the crowd parted. And from the center of them, someone she never expected to see emerged, someone whose presence struck her harder than all the insults combined. Her sister. Her sister's sudden appearance froze her in place. The laughter and whispers around them faded into a heavy silence. For a moment, she couldn't breathe. Why are you here? She managed, her voice tight. Her sister's eyes flicked to the admired man at her side, then back to her. Because you don't understand what you've stepped into. Her tone was sharp, urgent. And you're about to pay for it. The crowd stirred, restless, feeding off the tension. She felt every eye on her, burning with judgment and curiosity. Her chest tightened, the weight of the object in her pocket suddenly unbearable. She shifted, trying to steady her breathing, but her legs felt heavy, as though the night itself was pressing down on her. The admired man stepped forward, shielding her slightly. This isn't the place, he said firmly. Not with all of them watching. Her sister's lips curled into a bitter smile. Oh, but that's exactly why it is the place. She should know, she needs to know, before it's too late. The words rattled inside her, each one an echo of the scarred man's warning. She glanced toward the street, but the shadows where he had vanished were empty. And yet, she couldn't shake the feeling he was still near, watching, waiting for her next move. Her hands trembled, her body screaming for rest. The emotional weight of the evening pressed harder than any physical blow. But she clenched her jaw, forcing herself to stand taller. If there's something I should know, she said, her voice steady despite the weakness gnawing at her, then say it. Stop circling me like I'm a child. For a heartbeat, her sister's expression softened, pain flickered there, almost regret. But just as quickly it hardened again. You've already been told, she said. You just don't want to believe it. Her stomach twisted. The scarred man's voice replayed in her mind, you've already made your choice. She opened her mouth to press, to demand answers, but before she could, a sharp commotion erupted at the edge of the crowd. Two men pushed through, their suits too sharp, their movements too deliberate. They weren't here to watch. They were here for her. The admired man's grip on her arm tightened. Not now, he hissed. We move. Her body ached, her resolve wavered, but she forced her legs to obey. She pushed forward with him, through the stunned crowd, her sister's voice following like a blade in the dark. You can run, but you can't escape what you're carrying. Her hand shot to her pocket, clutching the hidden object with white knuckles. And for the first time, she wondered if it was saving her, or destroying her. They pushed through the restless crowd and spilled into the street. The night air felt heavier now, pressing against her lungs. Her legs ached, every step slower than the last, but she refused to stop. The admired man pulled her along, urgency etched in his face. They turned a corner, straight into the scarred man. He was waiting. No shadows to hide him this time, no distance. Just him, arms folded, eyes fixed on her as if he had known exactly where she would end up. Her stomach dropped. How? He cut her off with a raised hand. You still don't understand. And you won't, not while you cling to him. His gaze shifted to the admired man. The weight of contempt in his stare was crushing. The man beside her bristled. Don't listen to him. He's twisting everything. Her pulse raced. Two voices, two truths, both demanding her trust. She opened her mouth, but before she could speak, the scarred man moved faster than she thought possible. With one sudden motion, he grabbed her wrist and yanked it free of her pocket. The object slipped from her grip. It hit the pavement with a dull clatter. The crowd's laughter, her sister's warnings, the mocking words, all of it crashed back into her mind as she saw what lay exposed. Not money. Not jewelry. A sealed envelope. The admired man's face drained of color. You weren't supposed to see that, he muttered. Her chest tightened. You weren't supposed to see that. The words felt like betrayal, heavier than any insult. The scarred man bent, scooped up the envelope, and held it in his scarred hand. He didn't open it, he didn't need to. He only looked at her, his voice low but steady. Now you know who you should fear. Tears stung her eyes, but she blinked them back, refusing to break. She had lost the one thing she clung to all night, stripped bare in front of them both. But even in that moment of defeat, something inside her hardened. She was still standing. She lifted her chin. If it's mine, I'll fight for it. For a split second, something like respect flickered across the scarred man's face. He didn't speak. Instead, he slipped the envelope into his jacket and turned to walk away. The admired man reached for her hand, his voice shaking now. You can't let him go. Do you know what this means? Before she could answer, headlights cut across the street. A black car screeched to a halt. The doors swung open, and men in dark suits poured out, their eyes fixed on her. This time, there would be no running. The men in suits fanned out with military precision, their movements too sharp to mistake for coincidence. She backed away instinctively, but there was nowhere left to go. The black car blocked the street, the scarred man had disappeared into the night with the envelope, and the admired man stood at her side, fists clenched. One of the suited men spoke, his voice calm but edged with authority. You've carried something that doesn't belong to you. Hand it over, and this ends quietly. Her stomach lurched. The envelope. Even though it was no longer in her hands, they believed it still was. Which meant only one thing: they didn't know it was already gone. The admired man leaned close, whispering sharply. "Don't admit anything. They'll never let you walk away." She swallowed hard, her body trembling, but her mind sharpened. This was the moment: hide, obey, or fight. For once, she couldn't be silent, couldn't let others decide. She stepped forward, her voice unsteady but clear. "I don't have what you're looking for." The leader's eyes narrowed. "Then tell us who does." Her throat tightened. Her heart screamed to name the scarred man, to shift the danger onto him. But another voice inside, quieter yet stronger, told her that betraying him, even after everything, would chain her forever to the weakness she was trying to escape. "I won't," she said, louder this time. A ripple of shock passed through the suited men. The admired man stared at her, eyes wide, part disbelief, part something else. "You've just chosen your side," the leader said coldly. He lifted a hand, and two men stepped forward. "Then you'll come with us." Her knees threatened to give way. But before they could touch her, a sound cracked through the night, metal scraping, a car door slamming. From the shadows at the end of the street, another vehicle pulled up, its headlights cutting through the tense standoff. The driver's window rolled down just enough for a familiar voice to carry across the street. Her sister's voice. "Get in. Now. Before it's too late." The street froze in a tense triangle, the men in suits closing in, her sister's car idling with headlights cutting through the dark, and the admired man at her side, every muscle taut as if bracing for war. Her breath came shallow. She had no safe choice left. Step toward the men, and she was finished. Step into her sister's car, and she was plunging blind into a trap she couldn't yet see. Stay where she was, and the night itself would crush her. Her sister leaned forward, eyes burning behind the glass. "I told you, you don't understand what you're carrying. Get in, or they'll take everything." Her voice cracked. "What's in the envelope? Why does everyone want it?" Her sister's expression flickered, fear, sorrow, guilt, but no words came. The silence was worse than an answer. The suited leader gestured sharply. Two men advanced, hands outstretched. In a split-second decision, she broke free of the admired man's grasp and darted toward the car. Tires screeched as the door flung open, and she collapsed into the passenger seat. The admired man shouted her name, his voice raw, but the car lurched forward before he could reach her. Her pulse hammered as the city lights blurred past. "Tell me the truth," she demanded, her throat dry. "What's inside that envelope?" Her sister's grip tightened on the wheel. "It's not just about you. It never was. That envelope holds proof that could destroy him." Her stomach twisted. Him. She didn't need to ask who. The admired man. The words felt like a knife, splitting the fragile thread she had been clinging to. He had defended her, stood at her side, and yet, all along, he was the one she should have feared. Her voice broke. "You're lying." But her sister didn't waver. "Am I? Then why did he never want you to see it?" Her mind reeled, her chest hollow. Every moment replayed in her head, every hesitation, every warning. She pressed her palms against her temples, trying to block it out, but the truth pressed harder. The car screeched to a halt at a deserted intersection. Her sister turned to her, voice trembling. "You have one chance. Decide who you believe, me, or him. And whichever you choose, the other will become your enemy." The words hung between them like dynamite with a lit fuse. And outside, in the glow of a street lamp, a shadow stepped forward, the scarred man, envelope still in hand. The scarred man stepped into the light, the envelope glinting in his hand. Her sister tensed beside her, while the admired man appeared at the corner, breathless, desperate. For one suspended moment, the world held its breath, three forces pulling at her, each demanding a piece of her choice. Her sister's voice cut sharp. "Give it to me. End this before it destroys you." The admired man shouted, his eyes locked on hers. "Don't trust her. She'll use it for herself." The scarred man only stood silent, his scar catching the glow. At last, he spoke. "It was never about them. It was always about you. Decide who you are." Her chest tightened. All the laughter, all the whispers, all the nights she had felt invisible, everything pressed into this single instant. She had run, she had fought, she had been torn apart by half-truths and betrayal. But for the first time, she wasn't just reacting. She was choosing. She stepped forward, her knees trembling but her voice firm. "Enough." She held out her hand. The scarred man hesitated, then placed the envelope in her palm. Its weight was heavy, but it no longer crushed her. Her sister whispered, almost pleading. "Don't open it. You'll ruin everything." The admired man's voice cracked. "You'll ruin me." Her fingers tore the seal. Papers slid free, inked words that could shatter reputations, end lies, expose everything they had tried to hide. She didn't flinch. She raised the pages for them to see. "You ruined yourselves," she said softly, "the moment you thought I was too weak to stand." Silence. Then, slowly, the power shifted. Her sister looked away, unable to meet her eyes. The admired man dropped his head, shame flooding his face. The scarred man gave the faintest nod, almost a bow of respect. And she felt lighter than she had ever known. The laughter that once broke her no longer had power. The fear that had chained her was gone. She wasn't the woman mocked in that hall anymore. She was someone new, stronger, freer, unstoppable. She stepped past them all, into the open night. The city lights stretched before her like a promise. Her heart, once heavy, beat with fire. She didn't need their approval, their protection, or their lies. For the first time, she walked forward not to prove them wrong, but to live her own victory. And in that walk, she carried everything: freedom, revenge, triumph. A story no one would ever laugh at again.